I want a golden goose.
Here we go again.
All right, sweetheart. All right. Daddy'll get you a golden goose as soon as we get home.
No, I want booze.
Bunker, how much do you want for the golden goose?
They're not for sale.
Name your price.
She can't have one.
Who says I can't?
The man with a funny hat.
I want one. I want a golden goose. Gooses. Geeses. I want my geese to lay gold eggs for Easter.
It will, sweetheart.
At least 100 a day.
Anything you say.
And by the way,
What?
I want a feast.
You ate before you came to the factory.
I want a bean feast.
One of those.
Cream buns and donuts and fruitcake with no nuts, so good you could go nuts.
You're going to have all those things when you get home.
No, now! I want a ball! I want a party. Pink macaroons and a million balloons and performing baboons and give it to me. Now! I want the world. I want the whole world. I want to lock it all up in my pocket. It's my bar of chocolate. Give it to me now. I want today. I want tomorrow. I want to wear 'em like braids in my hair, and I don't want to share 'em. I want a party with roomfuls of laughter, 10,000 tons of ice cream, and if I don't get the things I am after, I'm going to scream. I want the works, I want the whole works. Presents and prizes and sweets and surprises of all shapes and sizes. And now, don't care how, I want it now. Don't care how, I want it now.
She was a bad egg.
Where's she gone?
Where all the other bad eggs go. Down the garbage chute.
Oh, the garbage chute. Where does it lead to?
To the furnace.
The furnace! Should be sizzled like a sausage.
Well, not necessarily. She could be stuck just inside the tube.
Inside the... Hold on! Veruca! Sweetheart! Daddy's coming!
Oh, Whimsy, you chose well today. Do you know, I have never seen that movie. I know of it, but I've never seen it. I literally was watching that scene for the very first time in my life, responding to it.
Are you serious? I thought that
Fabulous.
if anything, I gotta mute this. I would think if anybody knew that scene inside and out and would have picked it for today, it would have been you, Chuck.
No, you sprung a new one on me, but it was perfect. I mean, with all that's going on right now, needless to say, that was perfect. And I can think of a certain bad egg we would love to throw down that chute, but that's another
So
topic.
let's just go ahead and get right into it. For those of you who are just joining us, this is the infamous Taco Tuesdays with Chuck Dransfield, who is your host, and with the co-host, the infamous Dr. Whimsy. Well, as many of you are recovering from, I know it's painful, Donald Trump has been elected as the 47th president of the United States.
No.
He wanted it now, and he wanted it covered in chocolate. You got any opinions about that?
I wouldn't use the word chocolate to describe what he's covered in. Lots of jokes here. But as I was watching that, I was thinking of something Bette Midler once said, "I want it all now, and I want it delivered." I was watching that little girl. I want it now, or I'm going to scream, But it was that was just so much fun. It was so uplifting. It was so light. Even the colors. One of my jobs for this show, of course, is to read and watch the news, something that a lot of people are telling me they can't bear to look at right now. And I was kind of in the poopsie dumpster myself. Just
Mm.
all the things that are going on right now. So that was just the medicine I needed personally. I thank you for putting that on.
Yeah. So, as you know, a lot of extremely wealthy people went into this election. After Citizens United, we had billions of, hundreds, millions of dollars being poured into the election for the 47th president and down
Yeah.
ballots, etc.
Yes.
Do you feel that it has become so expensive, American politics, that regular people cannot be part of politics anymore? You have to basically be bought and sold at this point?
Well, it certainly seems like it's been that for quite a while right now. Especially when you've got these billionaires out to just buy power for themselves. That was said for here, in the mayor's race for Los Angeles a couple of years ago when it was between Karen Bass and Caruso. I forget his first name, Caruso, who was a billionaire, and he financed his whole campaign. I think he spent something like 158 million of his own money. Karen Bass had a fraction of that, and of course, she thankfully won. But here's Elon Musk. It's looking like he just bought himself an American president. But yeah, I wonder how you can run for office anymore unless you're very, very wealthy or very, very well connected.
Well, in the case of Elon Musk, he basically took a flailing political party. I mean, they were underfunded. The
Mhm.
money was with the Democratic Party, and the
Yeah,
Democratic Party was doing fairly well. At least I'd like to believe so. And
yeah,
he went into a flailing political party. He put in over $200 million of his own money and bought a political party. And some would say he's reinventing that political party to be in his own image,
oh yeah,
and that seasoned old time Republicans are not necessarily going to be happy
no.
with what he is doing with the party.
Well,
Starting with the appointments themselves,
oh, well.
how do you feel about some of these appointments that are coming in?
Oh my God. We've all been in that situation, where something is so horrible, so bad, so ghastly that we start laughing. Have you ever been in that position? Like, how worse can it possibly be? And I have found myself in that position where I've started laughing because it's so absurd, and it just gets increasingly absurd. I'm just waiting for Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy, to get a major cabinet appointment, or Marjorie Taylor Greene appointed to head Department of Education or something. It's like we can joke about these things, but we're seeing it happen. Like today, Mehmet Oz, Dr. Oz was
But
appointed.
don't you think that they say in a lot of ways that was a good pick? He is a cardiologist.
Well,
With
yeah,
Rosen, he wrote on Your True Age, which was data collection on
yeah.
how quickly we age, and that he may, in fact, be one of the few picks that actually makes some sense.
Well, I
Because
mean,
before he got
yeah,
involved in this stupid Oprah TV show, he
yeah.
was doing real good data
He
collection
was a
on slowing down the aging process with
yeah.
Rosen, et cetera. I don't know. What do you think about
Well,
that?
I don't know. Wasn't he Oprah's personal physician at one time? And that's how she knew him, and she made
He
him a star.
I mean, it's fun to make fun of Oz because Oz has kind of been all over the place in his
Yeah,
career. But what people have to remind themselves of, despite how much we don't necessarily like his personality, etc.,
yeah.
is that he is a legitimate
He is
cardiologist with
legitimate in that respect. I agree with you there.
and was part of the medical team to advise Bill Clinton. This is a guy that's pretty darn good at his job, despite
Oh,
any
he is.
criticism.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I
this is
will
one
agree
of
with you
Clinton's
there.
old former doctors.
He seems to be one of the few cabinet appointments who has at least some kind of credentials, some kind
Yeah,
of
I'm not.
background
I'm
and
actually. I'm
qualifications.
actually not bothered. I actually think this makes sense given the work
Yeah.
he's done with Rosen
Well,
on his work with aging, etc. I think this might be a good pick.
well,
This
you
was
know
not the
something.
one that freaked me out. The one that freaked me out was when they started taking people like who is
Well,
some of these
well, that.
people that act. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Well, I was going to say it was. I forget his name, but he was the host of a morning show on the Fox network, and he was put in charge of the military. I forget the name, the actual department, but someone completely unqualified.
Well, there's also who is the woman who was with the Democrats, she left, and now she's basically an asset for Russia. What was her name?
Um, I can't think of it offhand. Maybe one of our viewers can tell us
Uh,
here. Sorry, I can't
yeah.
think of it. But one thing I was going to say about
But they
Oz.
rejected it. He wanted her for intelligence, and she's basically a spy for Russia. Like, how
Oh,
did we get to the point where there are spies for Russia, openly spies for Russia?
I know.
Also, a highest number of people being appointed that seem to be accused of rape. This is the
My
other
God,
thing. It's like,
I
I
know
know, like you have
it
to laugh because it's just so
it's
damn
so
horrible when you're looking
beyond
at this transition
absurd.
team.
Yeah, I think all of us every day we hear appointments and we're all just shaking our heads like, "Oh my God, oh my God!" And it's like I saw a cartoon the other day where they showed a cabinet meeting in the White House and it was just a bunch of people in clown makeup. It's like a big circus without the happiness.
Well, now with Gates raping and trafficking people. But here's where it starts to get sick is you have somebody like Mike Johnson trying to cover up and bury the evidence. This is exactly what predatory men do. They protect other predators. It's like, what are you doing by aiding and abetting and getting Matt Gates to have more power? They want to make him the attorney general. Are you out of your freaking mind? A
Yeah,
convicted rapist? Are you freaking kidding me?
I mean, my God, there's a good chance he could be installed in the office. It's quite possible.
Well, they
It's gonna
don't really care what women think. I mean,
no,
one of the things they've learned is that there's a lot that they can get away with.
yeah. It's going to be a real test to see just how much power Trump does have, with the Congress people, with the senators to get what he wants.
If women continue to put their head in the sand and say, well, we just have to believe that it's all going to work itself out and that Jesus is going to come and save us, then
Oh,
you're screwed.
yes, very much so.
Because Prince Charming's not coming.
No,
If our
glass
way of
slipper cracked.
if your plan is they're not going to come for California. Oh, they're coming for California. They've already made inroads. We have to assume we can't just sit and say what other horrible thing are they going to do to us. We know they're going to do something else horrible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems to be one of the tactics of Trump. How much do we know is just hyperbole to scare us, like to scare us into submission, and how much is for real? We're all just in like anxiety and fear. I say we all, meaning most of the people I've spoken to. And like I've said, I talk to a lot of your clients and people here on the phone. I talk to people all over the country, and I'm hearing this consistently. I'm scared to death. I'm in fear. I'm in depression. What's going to happen to us? I'm hearing that. And I don't mean it to be so pessimistic, but it's almost like, I know it's so cliche to say this, when the second plane hit the towers back in 2001, but it was, remember all that anxiety, the fear, depression. We were all stunned. We didn't know what was going to happen next. We didn't know if there were going to be more attacks. I remember here in Los Angeles, I had a friend who worked at 20th Century Fox. They put up big concrete barricades. I understand all the studios were doing this, CBS, NBC, because nobody knew if we were going to have more attacks. And then remember anthrax was being mailed to people. Remember that?
Yeah, so I don't think so. This is what I see Democrats frequently doing. We sit there stunned.
Yeah.
What else are they going to do? What else are they going to do? What else? And then they do it. Oh my God! Well, they're going to stop. I know they'll stop at 64 unwanted children due to rape. They'll stop at 64,000. 64,000. That's too many babies. Birthing babies from their stepdaddies. They're going to stop at 64,000. Oh no, they're never going to stop.
No, it's like
they're taking every state, honey.
It feels
so we got to stop with this romantic idea that no, I don't want to look. Somebody needs to go and save us. There is salvation.
Yeah.
You are your salvation.
I just keep feeling like Trump wants to beat us into submission. Just keep us in a state of fear. That's the intention.
Well, here is the meditation I got from Spirit. If this is going to make everybody feel better. Bullies and sexual predators and incels that are talking about your body, my choice. I'm going to do what I want to you, little girl. they get off on seeing the victim frightened and crying because that is the sex is a predatory act for them. It turns them on to see the victim frightened and begging to stop, stop, stop. So if you act like that, it's getting them hot and heavy. It's only going to increase the amount of porn they watch, violent porn. You're only feeding this fetish.
Yes.
So the first thing I would say to women and children that are weeping and crying and saying, please don't do this thing to me, is to stop weeping, stop crying and saying that, because you're only turning them on. As gruesome as that sounds, because that is the thrill. They want you weeping, and you need to just go over to Blue Sky and erase them. This is the first thing that Spirit tells us to do: is your son, your uncle, your brother, your cousin, your father, your grandpa. If this is the world that they are advocating for, you have a tough decision to make about whether or not they get to be a part of your life anymore. If it were me, I would say you're not a part of my life anymore, because you've just told me who you are. So the first thing we do is we remove people like this from our lives. They don't get to have access to me anymore. You don't have to watch me weeping and crying. Please don't molest me. Please don't hurt me. That's all. That was me 30, 40, 50 years ago when I was a victim, but I'm not a victim anymore.
No, you're not.
You don't exist, honey. You have ceased to exist. You have been erased. And so the first thing we do is we have to erase all contact or communications or associations with anything that props this up. Because the truth of the matter is, men like this cannot survive in the world without women. They
No.
What I think that you boys need to do is to get comfortable with a world without women. That's all. The day that women quit, the day I think women need to quit. And I'm dead serious. And I think that we have to say, oh, yeah, women ain't gonna quit, you little girly girl. They're not taking us seriously. We're just little tiny girls to smack them around, get yourself a baby, and we're gonna put you, get you good and proper in that kitchen, get a baby in you. And this is the mentality. You don't engage it. Don't engage it. Don't weep. Don't cry. Cut cords and erase these people from your lives. And then you have to, then the next thing, we women with money, those of us who have jobs, careers, the physicians of the world, etc., the people that actually are contributing to this, keeping this thing afloat, we are going to get a list of every company that is advocating this forced breeding. Your body is the property of the state. Oh, Trump don't hate women. He just sent it to the state. Trump don't hate your vagina is owned by the state now. That vagina of yours is state property. It ain't he took care of that whole thing of you. You're free to do what you like with your own. But no. Now y'all be state property now. Y'all be communist, right? Because your vagina be owned by the state. See, I didn't think my vagina was owned by the state prior to this. I thought that with Roe v. Wade, I am a human being and I am going to have medical problems throughout my life. And then I'm going to go through my doctor, and then hopefully they're going to be a good doctor, and we're going to make medical decisions about what I have to do with my body. But come to find out, y'all, it be owned by the state. My vagina's owned by the state. Y'all know that? Y'all know your vagina owned by the state of Texas? Y'all know that?
A lot are going to find out.
Welcome to communism. Your uterus is not your property. Your uterus is owned by the state. Do you not realize how stupid you are that you swallowed that pill and didn't think, hey, wait a minute, why the state all of a sudden own my vagina?
Well,
did you own who owned your vagina before Dobbs? The feds? Is that what you think? You think the feds owned your vagina before? Oh, they just rolled it on down to state. Now your vagina ain't owned by the feds, it's owned by state.
Yeah. We already know.
Move to Beijing.
A lot of people are going to be leaving this country, I predict. They have to. But it's just astounding to me, astounding that so many people who voted for Trump just did so obliviously, not knowing any of this, not even thinking about this, not even being informed. And now they're going to be finding out. Unfortunately, we're all getting taken down together.
Why don't we go ahead? You said give a quick high after that big emotional meltdown by me. Your
Very
favorite
appropriate.
ranting feminist. Let's turn around, turn the camera over, say hi to everybody.
Okay,
Then
well, let's say hi here.
Then we're going to do the Empass prayer, and we will blitz away, and we'll talk about all this.
Okay, so
who's all here?
well, we have Debbie here, we have Jerry, we have Lisa Turner, Joel, our wonderful Joel Tilson is here, Susie, Modern Ancient Design. Let's see, it just moved on me here while I was reading and scrolling. Susan and Karen and I love this name, Granny's Wandering Spirit.
Ooh,
Yes, isn't that great? And Barb, and let's see here. I don't want to repeat them. Carolyn, Susie. Let's see.
So what's the feedback? What are people? Are people
kind?
Oh,
yes. Yeah. Be kind. That's a good name.
Tulsi Gabbard. Yes, she's the communist. Yeah, I mean, or she's the pro-Russian that they want to give the AG position to. Are you out of your freaking minds?
I don't know. Just looking at comments here.
They want it all. They want it all. Maybe we should give it all to them. I don't know.
Yeah. Here's something that Susie said again. I have no rights. In 1969, I could not even own my own car. I was told to put it in my dad's name. That's like women who couldn't even have a credit
That's
card.
what they want. You know what we want from you ladies is if you just try not to do so much. If you could just step back from politics a little bit. Isn't that what the boy from Missouri said?
No.
Y'all need to just step back a little bit. Just take a breath, women.
Well, remember,
y'all need to get a baby in you is what you need.
Yeah. I was just going to say, in the 70s, a woman couldn't even get a credit card on her own. She had to get that through her husband's name.
Yes.
Lisa said, I'm all about chastity belts and locks. That time.
But but the key was owned by your master, honey. That's the problem with the chastity belt. You didn't own your vagina. You couldn't even get to your vagina when you were giving birth. And some women died that way. The guy would go away and they would be pregnant and things would happen and they would die with this locked to this chastity belt, the baby.
Yeah, that's
They'd be trying to saw the thing off. And isn't that nice?
Well,
another great invention by a guy.
Actually, Whimsy, there is a male equivalent. I think it's used predominantly in the gay community, but it's like a cage that fits around the male genitalia, and the respective spouse or partner has the key to it. Say they're going away on a business trip or something, and they want to ensure chastity. So that is being done right now.
Yeah, but it doesn't. There are other areas that boys can play in that are not locked.
Well, maybe they thought of that. I don't know.
That's not going to keep.
I was just going to point that out.
Most boys will figure it out.
You're right there. Yes, I think most men will figure it out. But I just wanted to point out there is a male equivalence of it. But I certainly understand the point you're making. And when it's so hard. I mean, we don't want to make light of the situation. It's very serious. But at the same time, the people I've been talking to, everyone's in agreement. We've got to find things to laugh about. We've got to find some humor. We've got to find some levity. Just anything is a refuge right now. And we're only like 2 weeks into this. Just wait until January 20th comes.
Raymond De Pasquilla says, that's strange. If an embryo develops into a female, at that point it loses its rights. Yes. Mm-hmm. Dogs and cats have more rights in the United States than American females. We wanted to mention that at 6:00 today, we have a book club we are starting. The book club starts. We're going to be having Diane Wing is in our studio. She is the author of The True Nature of Energy, Transforming Anxiety into Tranquility. There's a reason why Chuck and I picked her for November. Chuck,
It's the
What
best.
could we have picked a better book for November?
Oh, there could not be a more appropriate book for November than this book. And as we talk about it in the interview, I think you will all understand. I almost referenced it a couple of times while you were talking. It's just, about being brought down by the news, outside energy, outside people, cutting out people who bring us down. I mean,
Yes,
we'll talk about that
this
later in
book
the
is
show.
so
It's
what
perfect.
this is such the right book for us right now. Would you like to do the Empass prayer, Chuck, and do some blitzes with people? Because
I
I think
think
we should
that,
do some. We should blitz away. Do you guys have any questions for us? Do you want to blitz away? Do you want
let's
to do
see
some
here.
card reading? Does that sound like fun? Would you boys, girls, and everything in between and
Yeah.
beyond like to play with us?
I think it's a good idea. I think let's do the impasse prayer. I
I think so.
mean, we
Yeah.
got a lot of comments here. I mean, Whimsy, it's hard to focus on this and read the comments at the same time. I wish we almost had like a teleprompter screen where we could look into the camera but still read the comments.
Oh, you mean something like that?
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea. What is that? Ask and you shall receive. That's beautiful. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, please join us for the Empass prayer. If you have any healing you'd like to receive at this time, please give us your name or the name of someone you love, and they too will be included in today's Empass prayer. Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, as a community, we say, Amen. And for those of you who have requested a healing at this time, collectively, we ask that you receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and spirit. And together again, collectively, as a community, we say, Amen. All right. Well, Chucky Poo,
Yes.
any interesting questions coming in? Oh, lovely. I forgot to get my cup. Chuck is displaying some of the beautiful stuff that we sell over here at Taco Tuesdays to raise money for the show and to keep us up and running. We've also
Yes.
shirts.
I like.
Yeah, it's a great. Those are nice gifts to get for the holidays for any of your friends, anybody you know who might be a fan of the Oracle of Whimsy. So, it's interesting. The questions are pretty good. They're coming in fast and furious. I see one coming in for Never Too Late to Dream says, Whimsy and Chuck, I'm so worried about my trans students. Please read on how we might protect them. How can we educate and protect people about trans people? The first thing I would do is just talk to people about things like exogenous estrogen. JFK Jr. used to talk about this stuff, too much plastic in the atmosphere. There are high propensity of people being born XXY because of genetic shuffling that's starting to happen. So the other thing we can start to do is just say to people, trans is a real phenomenon, and just educate people about environmental pollution and start putting pressure on people in the new administration to start talking about environmental factors that can that trans is not just some guy imagining it or some girl just imagining it. There are really things that are physically, emotionally and spiritually going on that are associated with part of the trans community. Now, in ancient times, trans was lumped into one word. Did you know what that word was? That community word was?
What was the one word?
Eunuch.
Eunuch.
Yeah. A eunuch was a category that included the trans community. So you had the eunuch in Hebrew, which corresponded to anybody that had their testicles saris. is the word Hebrew.
Mhm.
So it didn't necessarily fall into the category of castration. But if you're a trans person, you may be someone that's undergone castration,
Mhm.
either intentionally or accidentally, royal official,
Yeah.
infertility. Infertility also was XXY, fell into that category where
Yeah.
you might be trans, where you would be born with an XY, male who
Yeah.
hadn't shown signs of sexual maturity. So you can see from the Hebrew word of eunuch saris included what today we would be called the trans community. And there's several
Mhm.
examples of it from the Persian harem. If you had undescended testicles, which can sometimes happen in people that
Mhm.
are trans females that have undeveloped, or if they're XXY, this phenomenon was found in the Bible and fell under the category of saris. So we
Yeah.
mentioned that because instead of just fighting with people that are transphobic or ignorant, is we can just
Mhm.
have an intellectual conversation with them.
Yeah. Well, Whimsy, I will never forget when you were training me to get my naturopathic doctor's assistant's license. We
Mhm.
talked about this, about how transgender people, their chromosome makeup is actually different. It is an actual physical difference you are
Yes.
born with that can be proven. So I never forgot that. That just fascinated me. And also, I'm just thinking of things what you just touched upon, like the excessive plastics in our environment. They're finding many young men now in their 20s with low testosterone, AD issues, low testosterone. It's getting surprisingly common. I was also thinking what you were talking about just throughout history. Something that came to mind for me, what was the name? Were they the opera singers, the boys, the 12-year-old boys who they could sing in a very high soprano before puberty hit, and they would be castrated, so they would always have their soprano voice into adulthood.
Mhm.
Whether
Yeah.
altos or so, I forget the correct,
Yeah.
but that came to mind.
But also we can talk about brain specs even prior to surgery. You know, when we're looking at somebody like Vivian Jenna, Elon Musk daughter, the brains are different. It's not just cis, trans, etc. That, but we're actually doing autopsy. We're
Yeah,
actually seeing, because of specs, different areas of the brains functioning differently. For example, we see in trans females and cis females the same activity in the brain, which is different than males.
yeah, yeah.
So not the same.
No,
Not the same, different.
yeah,
And so what we see in data, we don't have to get defensive. We don't have to beat people up. We just have to say that eunuchs were the third gender that was recognized. And also the Bible and the Torah talks about we must be kind to the eunuch. They
yeah.
didn't ask to be in their situation, whether it
No,
was forced castration or if they were XXY or trans.
that's
It's
the
just
key.
it's just the way that God made them, and so there was
Exactly, exactly.
it was certain protections were given, and
Yeah,
so part of it is just educating people. But
yeah,
if you're somebody that wants to hate,
yeah. I think it just comes down to basic human decency for one and all. Just basic human decency, respect one and all for who they are. Um, but I'm glad you're pointing out things like this because some people, maybe this is what it takes, have hard science, scientific facts that can be presented, things that are documented. This isn't
Mhm.
just a case of somebody, wanting to put on a dress and pretend they're a quote unquote pretend they're a girl. I've been hearing people say things like that. It's really cruel. It
Well, it
just takes a
also
lack
is
of
taking
empathy.
us it's taking us back 30, 40, 50 years before all this data came out.
Sure, it
But
is.
if the person's coming from a Christian or biblical perspective, then you can
Yeah.
say, well, let's open the good book. Let's take a look at the Bible. Let's go
Oh.
ahead and open that good book and see what the good book has to say about trans people.
I wonder what those people would say. The King James version of the Bible, King James was gay. You know that?
Well,
A
yeah, he
gay
was
man
gay. He
did
was
that
gay, and he was
translation of
afraid.
the Bible.
He was afraid of witches. He had a lot of
Yeah,
issues.
yeah, but there's such
But
an irony.
yeah, but I mean, the rights of the LGBTQ community, the trans community, is mentioned,
Yeah,
and so it's something that we want to mention. Okay, so you want to throw some cards on it? Are trans people going to
Oh.
be okay in the United States? Is there anything else we can give advice for trans people?
I'm almost afraid to ask.
Oh, we have to be optimistic, though. We have to
I
give
know.
people real practical solutions. Real practical
Okay.
solutions. I'm so glad everybody's here. If you can like, subscribe, and share, be optimistic, be proactive. If we are organized, we are more powerful than you know. Be organized, folks.
Just shuffling here, see what comes out.
Oh, nice. These are some good cards.
Well, I just keep, my method is just to let the cards fall out, whatever's going to come out of the deck. But offhand, I mean, this may be an obvious one right here, but the first one I got was community. Interestingly enough, people joined hand in hand. Community, it means people standing together, uniting, galvanizing their forces. I got solitude, creativity, meaning, I always take solitude to mean meditation, contemplation, take stock of a situation, channel, receive. Creativity, meaning take unconventional means, get out of the box, do whatever it takes. And then the last card I got was truth. And I think truth encompasses some of the things we just talked about. There is hard science, there is documentation to show this is the truth of who people are. It's who they were born to be.
And trans people have been with us since there have been human beings.
Exactly. So those were the cards that dropped out for me. Now, you said you got some positive cards. What did you get, Whimsy?
I just loved these cards. Well, Archangel Gabriel is, he is the archangel. He's the protector of the LGBTQ trans community. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
So how do you think the LGBTQ angel would be depicted? Of course, in pink tights. Thank you very much. Like a pink ballerina in the beautiful pink tights. So if you're dealing with LGBTQ trans community, you will usually use the King of Cups. Archangel Raphael is the protector of the LGBTQ community. The message from Spirit, the higher voice to you, is to say to everyone, trans people are an important part of our community. They make up an important part of our community, and they contribute important things to our community, and they are respected and valued people in our community. So we have to just keep saying that over and over and over again. These are people that contribute. They have karma. They have a destiny. They've always been the fabric of our community as human beings, and we want them here. So you have this trans community, and we have the karma or the destiny of trans people to always be important in our community. Also, trans people also fall under the same category as the pulling of the root. And the pulling of the root is an ancient idea in Inuit and Alaskan tradition where a child didn't know what they were going to do with their life. And so you would dig a hole in the ground, and you would put the hand to the arm in the ground, and you would bury it. And then you would do prayers and chanting with the shaman, and then you would have them grab a bunch of dirt. So they're holding the dirt during the prayer. And then you dig up the hand and you say, show me what is in your hand. And then they analyze the contents of the hand for the destiny of the child. It could be a rock or a stone, different about what the person is called to do. But when you open it and out comes a root, a heavy root of a plant, a big wad of root, they say, oh, you pulled the root. And to pull the root is somebody who's been called to the shamanic path as a seer, a psychic, someone who is often enters into the shamanic realm. So people in the LGBTQ community were often the psychics, the healers, the shamans, the priests, and the holy men and women. They pulled the root. And so this is why Archangel Gabriel, who is the keeper of healing and medicine, is the patron of the LGBTQ community, because the shamans traditionally were LGBTQ.
That's beautiful.
Well, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's sad, and it's heartbreaking, because the best and brightest of our community, everybody in the body of Christ, has a purpose. If you're looking at a spiritual Christianity that makes up the body of Christ.
Yeah.
And if
But
you
I'm
look
just,
at the books, readings of Thomas More, if you look at any of the spiritual writings of the body of Christ that makes a functioning community, part of the body of Christ is this idea of the importance of the LGBT community and creating a healthy community or a healthy society. And for
Yeah.
them, it was always their destiny to hold something very sacred, beautiful, and healing that was part of the structure of that community. So if the body of Christ or if the community removes this important element, the community will become sick. It's vital to the structure or the health of the community or the church, the sacred community. King of Cups also is the great mediator or moderator. Many people in the LGBTQ community often become therapists, counselors, healers, intermediaries. The final
Some of the best.
outcome is the Queen of Pentacles, which is speak reasonably amongst them. Queen of Pentacles is very grounded in reality. She is the person who can keep a secret. She holds the cachet. She holds the knowledge, but she also has discernment.
Yeah. I was just very intrigued all you were saying about just reaching into the ground, because, you know, we're going to be talking about spiritual energy later in the show. But I've been given exercises by healers, like to literally lie on the ground, you know, to be grounded, to feel the energy of the earth. And just, you know, because we're so focused on what's up in the sky, all the stars and the planets and the galaxies, all of that is also inward in the earth. It's like the molten core lava is like the sun. And when you think of it, the earth is filled with gemstones and amethysts and diamonds and rubies. You know, we got all these beautiful gemstones and things. All of it's like there's stars. All that energy is inward. And when you mentioned reaching into the earth, I love that. That's what I found beautiful about it. And I was also reminded what you were saying, you know, because people who have had to go through unconventional things in their lives and challenges often are the most empathetic people, which makes them perfect to be counselors, healers, advisors, that type of thing. And I was also thinking of, I forget where I read this, but there was an ancient Indian tribe where homosexual men were valued. Women would come to these men before their marriages for advice on how to make love to a man, how to love their men, so forth. They felt that another man would be able to advise that better than anyone. So they were
that sounds like that sounds like Papua New Guinea, because they have the home of the male, the LGBTQ gay men live by themselves as healers and shaman in many of the Papua New Guinea communities. So that makes a lot of sense. So this question is coming in. Joel asked it. A couple of people wanted to know if we could pick up anything about the Ukraine war status. Stephanie Stevens also wanted to know any energy you're feeling since we're basically at the verge of World War III. Biden basically decided to he's going to hammer the crap out of Russia before he leaves. Is it going to make any kind of dent? Let's take a look.
Yeah. Whoa.
I've got a woe too, but I'll let you do your woe before I do my woe.
It was the last card that came out. I was getting cards, frankly, not so great. Death, despair, risk. But then, and again, this just popped out. So I haven't had a chance to really think about it, but I got the victory card. That just jumped out, victory. And I don't know what that means exactly, but it feels like something good could come of this.
I think that NATO is marching on Moscow. I think
Yeah.
that we're seeing an aggressive push by the West to deal with Russia. You have 10 of Cups, which is Russia, which is Ukraine. You have death and destruction over their enemy. And you have a new contract or deal with the United States and the West. And here comes the Knight of Swords, the war. They're about to do a heavy further attack. A very serious major attack against Russia is happening now.
Yeah.
Post haste,
That
man.
could be these first cards: death, despair, risk, but the outcome could be positive out of this. I just know there's so much fear right now that this could possibly change the direction of the war and even prompt Russia to start attacking our military bases.
No,
and
Ukraine's going to win.
Okay, then
I think Ukraine's going to win. I could be completely wrong, but
do you feel that's what I got here with victory?
I think Ukraine's going to go for it. I think that this energy that's coming now is like just a major attack. You can see that they were trapped because America, we wanted to keep the war going because we're making what profit off of making the bombs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want the war to end or not? 8 of Swords. So the Democrats needed to put in, just beating the crap out led it to how many hundreds of thousands? We should have just gone in aggressively.
Yeah.
Foolish behavior and death over our enemy, hopes and fears, devastation, 10 of Swords over the contract. Look at this. We look beyond the horizon.
Yeah.
Ukraine. So I think they're going to freaking take them out. I think they want them out of Crimea.
Yeah. Though I tell you, the next 2 months could be pretty bloody. What do you think? Based on what you're...
I think so too. I mean, there's a lot of growing concern that the election was stolen. This is the other thing that's got
meaning
people
our
concerned.
election?
Yeah. Karen W., there was nuclear strike. There is talk of a nuclear strike by Russia. Are we looking at a nuclear strike by Russia? Let's do that one first.
I'm going to do that. Are we looking at a nuclear strike from Russia? Are we looking at a nuclear strike? Okay. I was getting a little worried there because in the beginning it was going toward the yes, but now it's going in the direction of no. But it was jumping a bit to yes. In fact, even now, it's like it's up in the air. It's not impossible. Like now it's going toward maybe, but I'm getting no. Ultimately, no.
I don't see nuclear war, and I think that after Biden leaves, he will continue to advocate for Ukraine, and I think that he will continue even after he leaves office to continue to advocate and speak to foreign countries about protecting Zelensky, because you can see Zelensky is the king of wands. He's the man at war, and Star is over Zelensky. I always have him as the king of wands. And then the opposition, 3 of Cups and 6 of Swords, they have the victory. They won the election. Hopes and fears that they will be abandoned, 5 of Cups. And then the final outcome is that Biden gives them ample supplies. Page is the money, and there's Biden. Mm-hmm. So my thing is that it looks like they're getting ample, but it just goes on and on and on and on and on. We should have gone in and taking care of. I just wish we had been more. It would have been better for us to have been more aggressive than to have allowed this to just go on and on and on like this while they decide what part of Ukraine they're going to carve off and take for themselves.
Yeah. Of course, Donald Trump and all of his hyperbole is claiming he can stop this war in 24 hours.
Yeah, how's he going to do that?
Yeah, I know. And it's hyperbole, but that's what he claimed.
Okay, so in answer to the question, will the U.S. fight? Yes, it's very possible it could escalate to NATO going in. And U.S. troops are already in Ukraine. We should mention that. Mm-hmm. They're there as special forces. And also we have U.S. trained military that joined private armies. And the private army companies are owned by the United States. And so the money that we gave Zelensky was used to hire private armies owned by the U.S., supplying U.S. military trained reconnaissance missions, etc. So we basically do have the U.S. there at this time. Do you think that next question, will Kamala ask for a recount? Is it realistic, or are we just looking like sore losers?
Well,
is it possible that this election was stolen?
I think we had even discussed that the week before, that yes, there was interference, and yes, there probably are some missing votes, but it's not enough to make a difference. That's what we came up with. But should we just ask that again?
Yeah, well, Kamala demand a recount.
Kamala demand a recount in the election. I got a big no, because she knows that herself. It's like, it's not going to make any difference. Why do it? It's like, what I'm sensing is she feels she needs to focus her energy on other things for the remaining 2 months rather than dwell on something like that that's not going to change anything. That's the hit I'm getting.
Mm-hmm. She gets her wish regarding an ethics issue. So some things will be won. For example, if there are seats for the Democrats that are on thin ice and they do a recount, it's good news. Harris feels like it's good news because it could mean that I see more Democrats getting in. Okay. So the recount could be like if it looks like a Democrat has won in Minnesota and it's only 300 points ahead, the recount will show that the Democrat got in.
See, I understood the question to be if this was just for Kamala.
Right. So you're
it makes perfect sense.
Right. So I agree with you that for Kamala, it's not going to help, but they are doing recounts for some of the down ballot races. And for the down ballots, it could help.
That could pop because the majority for the House and the Senate is so tiny. This could make the difference.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that it's showing Tammy Baldwin won, but they're still going to have to do a recount because it's less than 20,000 or whatnot. So those kinds so I feel as Harris, I'm happy so-and-so got in, or I'm happy the recount reiterated that this person did make it into that seat. So it's more that feeling because you've got the contracts coming in, but I don't necessarily think that Harris hangs it up.
It won't help her though.
No. Hanging it up.
That's the way I understood it.
But other people got in and she's happy for them. 3 of Pentacles.
Sure. Well, I mean, if we
my friend Tammy Baldwin got reelected. Yeah, it's more that kind of a feeling.
If we could just get even the House or the Senate, one or the other, that at least would establish some checks and balances and some guardrails for Trump. Not much, but at least we'd have that. Right now, we don't have guardrails.
Mm-hmm. Do you think we're going to see a recount of Ted Cruz? I don't, but some people are saying possibly a recount for Ted Cruz. What do you think?
I doubt that.
Didn't he win by not enough for a recount? Let's take a look at Ted Cruz.
Yeah. Okay, how should we phrase the question, please?
Is Ted Cruz going to get his seat? Is Ted Cruz
going to get his seat? I got an immediate yes on that.
Yeah, he gets his wish card.
Oh yeah, immediate. It just went right to yes on that. Yeah,
didn't he win by 63K or something? I mean, sure. I think he did okay. I think people are just disappointed because he's such a horrible person.
Yeah, he is. He is. He is.
Ted Cruz. What do they call him? They call him.
I can think of some words, but.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see what the vote looked at. Was it 63? He was ahead. 93. Okay, let's take a look at the numbers. I thought he was ahead like 63,000. I could be wrong. I am only human. It looks like here is the race. 5,973, 5,000. Colin. Oh no, he was ahead by 900,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So no, wow, he really caught up. So that must have been when they continued to count. Before it was the Democrats, and then the Republicans kept voting because we had early voting. No way. He's not 970 something thousand above Colin Allred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was actually some hope that he wasn't going to be reelected, but we saw where things went all over the place.
I think it really was the economy in the end, don't you?
Well,
Chuck?
ultimately,
what's your feeling about
well,
that?
yeah, I think that's very clear. People were voting for how they were being personally affected. That we hear these jokes over and over. People voted for cheap eggs and gasoline and things like that. They want, it was how they were being affected, their paycheck and so forth, not the death of democracy or the fact that they were electing a man who was a convicted felon or had tried to overthrow our government. That didn't seem to matter. On Facebook, I've told you I'm friends with a lot of people who are Trump supporters, people in my hometown and so forth. And I keep them because I want to see how they think. I want to see their opinions. And most of these people, frankly, were oblivious. These are people who weren't watching the same news we were watching. They were getting their information from places like Fox News. And it just in the dark about Trump. We say, how could you knowingly elect a person like this who was going to take away women's rights and possibly take away your Social Security and your Medicare and veterans benefits and so forth. Most of them are like, I didn't know anything about that. What are you talking about? Oh, that's just fake news. I've had people in my hometown actually use that.
Right.
I've actually said that to me. That's fake news. And I'm like, I couldn't believe you just said that. Fake news.
Well, I wanted to make an announcement, and thank you, Chuck, for getting this message to us regarding the Bridget Alliance. The Bridget Alliance is working to create safe havens for women that need and children, because with children can get pregnant too, unfortunately, for those people who need the medical attention of safe, easy access to abortion. If you want to protect women, get them to safe harbor and children to safe harbor, check out the Bridget Alliance. The Bridget Alliance. And of course, if you would like to donate to the Bridget Alliance, you can certainly do by visiting the Bridget Alliance. And I don't know if I can put this link here. No, it will not let me do the link because it's too large.
Yeah.
But it is the Bridget Alliance. Check that out. Did you have fun, Chuck? Did you have fun today?
I had fun, as I always do with you, Whimsy. I love doing this show. And today was a show I didn't know what direction we were going to go in, because we try very hard to be entertaining, to be funny, to be light.
What did we say? What did we say today was going to be? It was didn't we stick to our skirt today? Didn't we stick to our script?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
We have a script. We have to abide by this script thing, and it's usually based on whatever the questions are that the audience wants us to answer. What are you up to before we close today? Is there anything I need to know about what you're up to?
What am I up to? Well, let's see. I'm just working a lot of my personal projects, my art, doing some commissioned pieces for people. Still doing Chuck's Captivating Chat on Mondays, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. So I have my channel, Chuck's Captivating Chronicles. Occasionally get some new videos on there, but I've got a whole archive, about 700 videos, pieces about old Hollywood, I Love Lucy history, that type of thing. And, I was going to say, in talking with your people about things, what can we do just to make ourselves laugh, feel better? I've actually had people say to me, I'm watching a lot of I Love Lucy right now.
Yes.
Or I discovered on Amazon Prime, there's a 24-hour Carol Burnett channel. That could not be more perfect right now.
I've been watching a lot of Carol Burnett to get me to laugh. And
Yes.
My thing is I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh my gosh. I wish I'd I've shown you my
because when I sent the Oasis One project to the IDF, and Elon Musk loved it and wanted, it's a go, right? So I was so happy because I didn't know that he was going to turn into like a right-wing psychopathic crazy person. But so I've been watching I Dream of Jeannie, which is the story of the genie, like an oracle who's married to a NASA astronaut.
Yes.
And so I keep in my mind, it's like Whimsy and Elon Musk, these dynamics back and forth between the psychic phenomenon, and he's got to talk to NASA. And when this whole entire thing was going down, when he was like renegotiating, when they were trying to renegotiate, it was so surreal. I was like, oh my God, I'm in the middle of a simulation. I'm Genie and he's what is it? Captain Nelson.
Major Nelson.
Major Nelson, yes. Major Nelson.
I'm just envisioning you in your Genie pink harem costume. Da 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 da.
Did you ever see the one with I Dream of Genie where they're entertaining the Russians?
I probably did. I can't think of it offhand. I was always more of a Bewitched fan, but I loved I Dream of Genie. I've shown you my Genie bottle, haven't I?
Oh, yes.
Did I hold it up? 2 years ago, I bought a replica Genie bottle, got Barbara Eden to hold it in her hands and sign it to me. She signed it, Barbara Eden, and then she put below that in parentheses, Genie. So I've got a real Genie bottle.
You know, I used to have a YouTube channel called Broke Aristocrats about how people could really keep their price down.
You should revive that.
Well, I became friends with this guy that was an assistant to Elon Musk when I was trying to get the rebuild over the summer, and I really liked the guy that I was working with to try and get the rebuild. And I was complaining about the fact that he was a Russian operative. And I was this Oracle of Whimsy trying to save money and try and get the rebuild. Yeah. And so let's watch a couple minutes of this. Then we're going to bring in our TV show. Okay. This is what I was watching as I was trying to negotiate. The Oracle of Whimsy, who is the broke aristocrat who never wants to spend money on anything, trying to get a party together for $20. What life would be like if Whimsy and Elon Musk were married. Here is the Oracle of Whimsy and Elon Musk in an alternate universe being married.
Good evening, Anthony, darling.
Hello, darling.
Dr. Bellows.
Good evening, Jim.
Good evening.
Dorian.
Roger.
What happened to the lights, darling?
Oh, you will be so pleased with me. I suddenly realized that NASA does not pay for the electricity bill.
Good evening, darling. Fuse blew. I didn't pay the bill, huh?
And in 1 year, we will have saved $382.39.
Mr. Nelson, will you please get these lights on? Our guests are going to be arriving in a few minutes.
The men are working on it right now. Light some more candles. Light some more candles.
Oh.
This is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. How did you do that?
Sir?
He asked how you did that.
Oh, thanks, Raj. It's an experimental simultaneous illumination candle power project that Roger and I are working on.
What'd you say we're working on?
It's an experimental simultaneous illumination. Roger!
I'd say it's rather romantic by candlelight.
Yes, very nice. Mrs. Nelson, may I wash my hands?
No.
Why not?
Oh, because we have no water. In 1 year, we will have saved $50. I like that.
Yeah. What kind of a neighborhood is this?
Well, it's just an average neighborhood without any water or electricity.
Well, Major Nelson, I didn't tell you how important this evening is. To you, I mean.
I know, sir. I know.
I expect this party to be memorable.
I will, sir. I promise. I'll get it, Doctor.
Yeah? Like, your doorbell doesn't ring.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I think you got the wrong house.
Hey, man, isn't this Dick and Jones' pad?
No, this is not Dick and Jones' pad. This is...
Hey, man, glad you could come. What's happening?
This is a private party.
Major Nelson, would you mind telling me what's going on here? Who are these people?
Oh, they are friends of our boarders.
Boarders? You taking boarders?
Hey, it's the Russian. Hey, I thought you split.
Split? But Major Nelson, don't you understand? There are senators, there are admirals and all kinds of generals coming in any minute.
Darn, why did we leave our petition at home?
Wait a minute. Fella, there's been a mistake here. This really is a private party.
Come on, why didn't you say so? Let's play him a little Russian music.
Is that on Hulu?
What?
Is I Dream of Jeannie on Hulu? I'm wondering how you can stream it. On Hulu. Is it on Hulu?
I just laughed. I was so depressed about the rebuild and about all the Russian crap. And I watched that when we were trying to work that out. I just laughed my damn head off. I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. The Russians coming in and me trying to save $5 and the Russian spies are coming in and she's spending $5. I was like, oh my God, this is like what would happen if that was real. Okay, so I thought you guys got a kick out of that. Are you ready to announce our guest?
Oh, our guest. The one is, I hope she's ready to come on now. The wonderful Diane Wing, the author of The True Nature of Energy, Transforming Anxiety into Tranquility. Did we know how to pick them or what, Whimsy?
Oh my gosh. Well, hopefully the Russians aren't going to take over. If we'll have a good party for them.
Yes, we will, if nothing else. Hi, Diane.
Hi, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. It's really a privilege. I loved your book. The funny thing is, I thought we were going to do the interview last week, so I was already all prepared to go. So I had another week with this book. It's just marvelous. Because, it's a true go-to handbook for contemplating, understanding metaphysical energy. I've been reading books like this for like the last 40 years. I started out with people like Shakti Gawain, Marianne Williams, and so forth. And it's like your book has managed to distill all of that down into one handy dandy reference here. I just applaud you for that. And I guess one of my first questions is, did you go out and distill from different books and references, or was this mostly something you just channeled on your own? That's purely your own creation. It's ingenious.
Thank you. Well, I've been studying metaphysics like my whole life, even younger. My mother's Mahjong group got me interested in metaphysics, really. And they started, recommending books for me to read through my teenage years. And my mom taught me to do TM and all these things. So it's a culmination plus personal experience and testing and applying the concepts. We can read until we're blue in the face, but unless we actually attempt to use these concepts, it's useless.
You just made it very easy, understandable, very accessible. It's like you don't have to comb through 30 books. It's all here in this. I like to think it's like a handy dandy reference guide, but it's marvelous. Just looking through the glossary here, one question I had, because I have read the book all the way through, but I wondered, is this a book you would recommend a person read in its entirety, or could a person just pick it up and say, go to a specific topic, that is pertinent to where they are, and it would work that way?
Sure. Yeah. You can jump around. I recommend doing the exercises in the sections so that you can really get a feel for the concept, because, everybody feels energy. Everybody does. And they do it to different degrees, and their ability to do it depends on their vibrational frequency. So by reading the book, applying the exercises, they will be able to have a better sense of what's going on around them and what's going on within them too.
Yes. That was the main thing that I kept looking at, is the difference between when I looked at the book, not to interrupt you, Chuck, but when I looked in this book, the first thing I felt was, and I kept over and over again, is this theme of the voice inside your head versus the voice outside there. Everything from selfless devotion syndrome, energetic defense for the workplace. It seems to me, like looking at your book, like we're always battling the outside world versus our inner world. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. Well, we're bombarded all day long. We're bombarded by things that we watch on TV, whether it's the news or this great show, or the comedy stuff, and the input from people that you're around, and what your work wants from you, and what your family wants from you, and you're just constantly bombarded. And so what we need to do is learn to protect ourselves while still being able to interact with the world. And so I have a whole section on shielding, but shielding different ways, so that, like, the plate glass method will allow you to protect yourself while you're talking to somebody, so that their stuff bounces off the glass. You don't absorb it. And that's the thing. It's the accumulation of negativity from outside yourself that's the most detrimental.
I particularly love that. I had that problem. Whimsy and I used to work together, and it was sort of a retail environment, even though it was the health industry. She was our resident naturopathic doctor, brilliant. And I acted as a nutritionist. I sold vitamins, herbs, homeopathy, but I had to relate to customers all day long. And I think anybody who's in a retail environment, it's very hard not to absorb energy, especially when they come in angry, bitter, they're complaining, and you're having to smile through that and all, but you start absorbing that. And I wish I had had some of these techniques. I think it would have made a big difference. I think it would even be helpful for me, like when I do my own show. 98 to 99% of the comments were wonderful. Occasionally, I will get the nasty little person. I had someone troll me because I was talking about Kamala Harris on my show 3 weeks ago, and my moderator took the comments on it off and blocked the person. But I'm very empathetic, and nonetheless, I do take energy like that rather bad. So I think I should have even applied it at that time. But something I just loved in your book, and I told you this before the show, was this I don't know what the word for it. You wouldn't call it a test. Is a test the right word for it? A quiz, a test?
Vibrational quiz, yeah.
Vibrational quiz. And it's quite detailed, and you have a certain, letter grade for each one that has certain points. And it's a whole series of questions that gauges where you are in the moment energetically.
Yes.
And I talked with you earlier, this could change from day to day. You might have a different result, but the day I took this, I don't want to tell publicly what I got, but I was in, shall we say, a pissy, shitty kind of mood that day. I would say low vibrational. And I added it up and I read the description. I thought, oh my God, you just nailed me with the accuracy of it.
Well, it's a great
ingenious
self-assessment tool to really have an objective view of yourself in that moment at that time. Where are you vibrating? What are the people around you? Where are they vibrating? Like, if you look at the scale and you read the symptoms of each vibrational frequency, you'll be able to
I got knocked out.
I was wondering what happened, Whimsy.
Are you guys still here?
We're still here.
Oh, good. I was worried because I got kicked out. Okay, please.
Okay.
Continue.
Well, so I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just want to know, how did you devise this? It's ingenious. Was this something you channeled, or was this based on more scientific data, facts, or combination of all of the above? But how did you create it?
Partially because my graduate degree is in psychology, clinical psychology, and I did work with patients at an inpatient psychiatric unit. Plus, I took that and I applied, just the people I encountered daily. And I created that 1 to 10 scale. And I started out with, okay, what does each of these frequencies, what do they look like? And then I created the questions from there.
Yeah.
So that you could indicate,
But I thought it was even interesting how you assign specific numeric value to each of the letters. And I was even wondering, how did you come up with this? Because it adds up. For me, that first time I took the test, I said, this just added up. And it was a lot of numbers to add.
It was. And so
Yeah.
for everybody who hates math the way I do, I had it developed for my website, dianewing.com, and you can take it on the site and you don't have to do any math.
I'm glad to know that.
Get the result.
I had my iPhone with my calculator, and I was praying I wasn't going to make a mistake with a number and have to start over, because I mean it's very detailed, very thorough. But it just fascinated me how you created something like that, and I want to give this book to a few people for Christmas.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. But Diane, do you feel you talked a lot in putting yourself first? Chapter 3 gets into this a lot. I got a lot out of chapter 3, this idea of energy exchange. Sometimes I just get so exhausted, I can't have any energy exchange with anybody. I feel like COVID was good for me because I had less energy exchange. I felt like I got my soul back after COVID because I was not having to deal with chapter 3 at all. Toxic energies, having to protect myself. Do you ever think it's a good idea for people to just go live in a cave? I mean, a lot of people can't do that though. We have to deal with, I mean, like, no, I really took this stuff to heart. I'm like, oh my God, this is my life, breaking through destructive patterns. I mean, if somebody is crazy, I mean, sometimes you just have to get away from them. I mean, the political situation right now, this really spoke to me about the political situation right now. Can you give people practical advice? Like, what are people supposed to do? They feel like they're being harassed in their own homes.
Yes. First of all, boundaries are incredibly important. You must set boundaries and don't allow people to harass you. And if you can't, I mean, we can't control other people. So, part of the strategy would be to avoid or to time limit how much, interaction you have with certain people. Some people, you do need to cut them off because it's impossible. And let's just agree to disagree and we'll go our separate ways. Like, it doesn't have to be aggressive in any way. It's just, you're self-preserving. You're not being selfish. And that's the difference. People are like, oh, well, I have to care about everybody. No, you don't. You have to take care of you first so that you have the energy to help the people who actually can benefit from your intervention.
Well, 61, this is the part I'm talking about. If you don't mind, I just wanted to read a section that what you wrote on 61, because this is why I wanted you to be here today. I have met people in search of the magic bullet that will fix their toxic partner, family member, or friend, or at the very least, they are looking for someone to sympathize with them and agree how bad their partner is. They want to suck others into the toxic vortex of negative energy. Sounds like me talking to my friends in Europe. It's like, get me out of here. Your vibration will be very limited when I don't know if you wanted to read or if we all or just read sections that if
no, you can. That's fine.
But there were things that just freaking knocked me off my chair. And your vibration will be very limited. This is what I mean. This constant juxtaposition. It's my way. I'm exhausted. It's not just depressing. It's exhausting. Your vibration will be very limited when you are in constant proximity to negative or toxic people. Before you attempt to address your relationship with a toxic partner, make sure your self-esteem and self-confidence are good enough for you to know that you will be all right if either of you end the relationship. And that's kind of where people are at right now. Do I end my relationship with the United States, with those people who voted for Trump? I was like, this. That's a good point. This was really, this was toxic relationships are incredibly difficult for most people, and especially for empathetic individuals, which makes up a large population of the people that watch this channel. If you allow them, toxic people can be like vampires, draining your energy mentally and emotionally. This is on page 60 for anybody who has the book that wants to follow along. It seems to me like there are certain people we're so hypersensitive that other people get off on making us cry, Diane. I mean,
yes, and we have to recognize those people and also recognize that we don't have to tolerate it. And that's, yes, we need to be centered. And so there's a whole chapter on grounding and dumping and getting rid of that energy and then protecting yourself. But you also have to move away from them. You don't have to deal with those kind of people. And if it's as a matter of business, you have to make a decision, you back to the boundaries part, because it is exhausting and it isn't fair to you. It's not good for your health. It could affect you physically. It can affect you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, especially if you're not feeling connected and somebody's harassing you over here and you don't have that
that's what I
divine
wanted to
connection.
talk. Yeah, exactly.
And somebody asked in the questions here, where does the energy go?
I was just going to ask you
stop,
that. Yeah.
It doesn't stop existing. No. Well, the energy, intention directs energy. You're going to do something. Why are you doing that thing? What is motivating you in that direction? Right? What is your intention with that behavior or with that statement that you're making to someone? Whatever action you're taking, if you understand your intention, your energy goes in that direction. And you're right, it doesn't go away. It always goes somewhere, but we have the ability to move it in different directions. And the other thing is, if you are connected to the divine will is incredibly important. There's three things. Know yourself, develop a will, and that includes setting boundaries and removing toxic behaviors of your own, and tap into divine will. Go with the energetic flow that's happening. Even a change of seasons, the seasons have a variety of different energies that you can tap into. And so as long as you're flowing with that, especially the empaths out there, because they're the most affected, but others are also affected not as deeply. Like you're not feeling everybody else's emotions like empaths do, but you're still feeling it. You might feel a heaviness, you might feel exhausted, but you're feeling it nonetheless. And so being clear about what you want in your life, how you want to live your life, that's the first part. Who do you want to be around? How do you want to spend your time? Always make time for yourself. Isolating is absolutely essential as far as I'm concerned. The Hermit card is one of my favorites in tarot. I wrote a book about tarot. And I go deeply into each card, and you can meditate on the cards. Pull one and really decide, what is the energy here that it's telling me, what direction am I supposed to go? Oh, somebody wants the name of the book.
Yeah.
The True Nature of Energy. Oh, is it?
Transforming Anxiety into Tranquility. Because let me tell you, everybody's anxious right now. There's a lot of fear out there.
Well, it's like there's a collective consciousness right now of energy where, at least the people I'm encountering all across the country, people are in fear, depression, sorrow, you name it. I'm hearing it over and over and over again. I think this collective consciousness is something we all can tap into very easily, because it just seems like it's bringing all of us down right now.
Yeah, well, we're all imprinting on the same ether.
Yes.
And so we can choose to brighten the energetic.
Oops, frozen again. That's okay. She'll unfreeze.
Pull or bring it down. Even when we're alone, if we could just beam that out, oh my goodness, it raises the vibration of the planet. It raises the vibration of the people around you. Go into nature, feel that energy. There's nothing cleaner than being in a forest for me. That's my favorite place.
I'll let Chuck take control of the interview again. But I was going to point out also that the way that you organized this book, to me, feels like you kind of take people to the depths of hell, and then you help take them out of it. Like chapter 5, you start kind of moving people away from magically create your reality, the power of perspective of change, transforming your reality, which is on page 93 if you have the book and you're following along with the book club, because this is a book club, and I know many of you have the book out that are part of the book club. I thought that was kind of interesting because not everyone can leave a domestic violence situation. You have to kind of plan, prep. It's easy for us to say, you shouldn't have to put up with this. It's very difficult to leave an abusive boss if you need the money, or leave an abusive relationship, but you can make tiny baby steps. And I like what you were talking about magically creating your own reality and a different power, how powerful it is when you decide to have an internal belief system that's going to be different than how you've been operating or how other people have been trying to manipulate you how to feel. Can you talk a little bit about chapter 5, the magic? You are a magical being able to transform your reality at will. Reality, for those people, again, this is page 93, is what you perceive it to be. Everything you encounter and observe is subjected to your own perspective and filtered through your own experience, thereby creating a personal version of what it means. I call this phenomenological truth, and it is experienced by each individual on the planet. Can you talk about like self-empowerment, what you meant by chapter 5 a little bit?
Yeah, phenomenology is we filter everything through our experience, through our stuff, through our constructs that we've understood from birth till now. And so everything that we're filtering gives us a unique perspective. And that is what our reality is based in. So I give an example in the book where this house needs to be cleaned. I don't want to clean it. I hate cleaning. I don't want to have to do this. Instead of doing that, because that just took your vibration level down a few notches. Instead, I am so fortunate to have a house that I get to clean. I love the after, the before and the after, where now the chi can flow through the space again, and it's lovely to be here. Gratitude, converting your perspective from fear and doubt to gratitude and love and joy, right? For those of you who have dogs, joy is immense with a canine in the house or even a cat, right? Any domesticated animal, that love comes so easily.
Yeah.
And so if you're having a hard time shifting it yourself, hug your pet, hug your stuffed animal. I believe that the energy runs through everything. If that animal has been with you since childhood, you've imprinted on that animal. And it can have calm in it. So you can hug it and feel calm. And somebody mentioned in the comments that they translate it into love. They transfer things into love, and that's great. For me, it's peace also. So you go from fear, doubt, and worry to peace, love, and calm. Because you can't think straight if you're freaked out. You just can't.
Yeah, and I like the fact that, like I said, chapter 5, you start to unravel. Chapter 6, starting to give people the tools. Chapter 6, again, for the people that are following along with the book, on chapter 6, which is page 107, influencing factors. This is what I was talking about, diminishing and increasing of energy. What I like about this chapter is you talk about how we can be self-destructive or not even necessarily conscious of how we're having a negative impact on our own energy, like looking at a person's daily habits, their diet, their drugs, their alcohol, how we ourselves are creating our own mood. We might not even be consciously aware of it because of our own habits. Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's so true. And if you find that your friends start not calling you, you're affecting them too. It's affecting you. They might get tired. Complaining is like one big way to just tank your vibrational frequency, if that's what you're looking to do. Mm-hmm. So, the complaining, the poor diet food has energy. You guys know this. That's your whole thing.
Yeah.
Food has energy. The cleaner you eat, the more your energy can flow. If you're eating crap, your energy gets stuck.
Yeah.
And that is horrible on your whole system, digestion and otherwise. And you certainly can't channel spirit to any great effect if you're all clogged with bad food and toxic emotions and anger. And I wrote a book called
This is such it's a really good book. Sorry, I just was like, saw a section I like. I just saw a section I like.
I'm in the same way.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Please go ahead, Dan.
In Seeing Your Life Differently, I write about anger and how it can be a catalyst for change. It doesn't have to be that you're so angry all the time and everything is just horrible and you're looking at the world and it's like, oh, this sucks and everything is horrible. But it isn't. Go outside. Oh my goodness, my red maple is so bright and beautiful, and it's growing, and my sapling is starting to get bigger out front, and I have leaves that my dogs are running through out back, and the world isn't horrible. It doesn't have to be. We can find joy in pretty much anything.
Well, also in chapter 7, when you talk about blocks, remove them. What I like about your book also is you're not just talking about the fact that people are in pain or that people have these blocks. The other reason that I wanted to have you on, and I think Chuck felt the same way, is that it's proactive. This book is proactive. Like in chapter 7, Chuck, did you have any questions or a thing you wanted to mention about
I think you're covering things beautifully here. I was actually looking through my list of questions. I realized
go ahead.
A lot of things.
Oh, did you have it? Because I just wanted to make sure we got to everything because we're going to be closing soon. I wanted to make through all the chapters and how it was organized.
A lot of my own questions have already been answered here. That's if you've seen me looking down through my pages, I'm like, do I have a question left here? And Whimsy, you've asked some beautiful things, and Diane.
Are we ready? Are we ready to close? I have a couple quick ones, and then we're going to close, right? Because I know she has to go after 6:30. But the last thing I was just going to ask if you had any other advice. Chapter 7 is excellent when you get this book because it's not just about recognizing that you have trauma or that you have people in your life that are causing some of these difficulties, but it's about how can we get our power back. And I appreciated chapter 7 because you get the person to a point where they have enough tools where they understand where they might be their own worst enemy or that a relationship, maybe you're co-creating. To some extent, we have more power than we realize because you chose to walk into that relationship. Like there's this, I feel this desire with Diane that you want the person to have some kind of a self-awareness so that they feel some kind of personal power. And with the chapter 7, removing blocks, so that the manifestation can come, which I think is really great, the way that you organize the chapters. And I think that Chuck was talking about that earlier. Before we close, can you just give somebody some inspiration about that's struggling with removing the blocks that are preventing them from their own manifestations? I thought that was so great that you did that.
Journaling is a great way. I mean, it's hard to be self-aware and be objective. Looking at yourself is the hardest thing. And I had the benefit of graduate school where they tore you apart so you didn't have any issues with your clients, right? That was like the most beneficial exercise I could have gone through. But beyond that, you have to really start looking at how are people responding to you? How are you responding to them? Is it something that maybe you could look at differently, back to perspective change? Is somebody annoying you? Is it a person in your family? Is it maybe an elderly person in your family? Start thinking, how much longer are we going to be with them? How much longer do I have with this person, right? Yeah. Could I be a little more patient? Could I be a little more accepting of what they're doing? And so acceptance is a great blockage remover, because then, I don't believe that we have to forgive people in order to move forward, but I do believe we have to accept what they are and what we are, our part in it, like you said, and their part in it. But it's all about your reaction. And so removing your blocks partially is, what substances are you putting in your body? Remember, there's 4 parts. There's the physical, and anytime you use any kind of central nervous system depressant, it dulls your connection to source, which
including if I have 2-3 cups of coffee a day. I know that it does. It, by the way, it does affect me. It does affect me.
Yeah, be aware of what substances are affecting you. Your emotional blocks. What toxic emotions are you having on a daily basis? Fear, doubt, and worry are 3 biggest enemies. What mental clogs are you having? What are you telling yourself on a regular basis? Oh, I'm horrible. Oh, I should have known better than that. Why did I do this? I'm a horrible person. No, you have to put a rubber band around your wrist and snap it and stop telling yourself these horrible things about yourself. And then spirit, how connected? When was the last time you actually had a good conversation with spirit? You know, when were you open enough to objectively hear? Because if you're constantly worrying and your mind is constantly going and you're not listening, you won't hear what you need to hear. And so that's another.
Wow, Diane, thank you so much for being here. We could speak to you for hours. We could speak to you for hours.
We could have done an interview on just each chapter in this book, one by one.
Yeah. I felt like I could keep going because each chapter dealt with because man, energy is a complicated subject, isn't it?
It really is. And hopefully the book will help people be much more aware of themselves.
Yes.
It's so important.
Yeah,
and you're
absolutely.
all able to do it. You can all be empowered, and I would love to see that. I really would.
I was glad you mentioned journaling. I've been doing journaling since I was in college. It's a chance to look at yourself in the third person. When you read it back, you see yourself as another person would see you. You're so right about that. It's been one of my best teachers.
All right. So before we close today and thank Diane for all of her wonderful writing, I want to make an announcement that we have a free giveaway, a free reading to those of you who become members of our fan pages over at Facebook. We offer a free tarot reading to the winner. And this month, the winner is Vincent Quinn. Vincent Quinn. Congratulations, Vincent Quinn. You can contact me at Whimsy Anderson at gmail.com. We'll set you up for a free 30-minute reading. I'd also like to announce that we have a new book for next month's book of the month.
I don't even know what this is.
It's well, you're not supposed to. It's an announcement. You haven't gotten it in the mail yet.
No.
The book is Rolodex. Rolodex, and the author is Richmond Burton. Rolodex takes place over a 2-week period in Soho, New York City in November of 1980. It follows the interconnected stories of a motley crew of artists, curators, critics, financiers who changed the art world and market forever. It's really a great book about art, ethics, love, and relationships. We look forward to having Richard Burton in our studio. He is our Christmas read. And you're going to find out more as you read the book about why I chose this as our Christmas read. Diane, any chance we can have you back here again? Because I know you read some other things. Yes, we have some other books like the book on tarot. I'd like to have you back again to talk about.
Thank you. I would love to. And thanks to all the folks who were commenting during the session. I really appreciate all your comments and really open to the topic. So thanks so much.
I saw you already sold some books. Congratulations.
And if your friends are your family, if you have those kinds of complicated interrelationships and you always want to be with friends, family, etc., particularly for the holidays, then you will appreciate Rolodex. Okay, everybody stay where you're at. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to our audience. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. If you're trying to get in for a tarot reading or Consult with Chuck Dransfield. You can contact him at
Thank you, Wendy.
Oh, of course, honey. Absolutely. You can contact him at dransfieldchuck@gmail.com, and he can schedule a reading with you.
Be my honor.
Energy consult. If you need to have one with me, you can go ahead and check the information below. I think that's it. Any announcements from you, Diane, before we say goodbye? Yeah. Any new books coming out or anything like that we need to know about?
Well, my latest cozy mystery just came out, Doggone Honeymoon. Chrissy the Shih Tzu Cozy Mystery. It's book 5 in the series.
And how fun.
My magical realism collection of short stories, Forest of the Dead, Stories of Transformation, is out.
Ooh, we're definitely going to have you back, girl.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Be sure and like, share, subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
See you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Stay where you are. Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye.